throughout pregnancy, and then once, having the baby, like one thing that I knew that I really, really wanted to do was I wanted to breastfeed. Like that was, like the benefits of breastfeeding are just amazing. And this is something that like my stepmother, for example, her generation, also my grandmother, they didn't know about this. Like, so they weren't recommended to breastfeed, back in like the 50s. Like it just wasn't, the benefits weren't known. But now we know, like breastfeeding, it's kind of amazing. There's something in breast milk called human milk oligosaccharides. Have you heard of these, HMOs?
No.
There's like 200 different of human milk oligosaccharides in breast milk. In fact, it's like the third most common factor in breast milk behind lactose and fat. 200 different ones, and they cannot be digested at all by like the infant's digestive system. It's like they co-evolved specifically to feed the microbiome in the gut of these infants, and they're specifically increasing the species of bacteria. Bifidobacteria infantis is one really, really important one. But it's amazing that it's really, that's the only purpose that they serve, is to feed and basically populate the infant gut with this beneficial bacteria. And this bacteria has been shown to, one, set up the immune system because they digest these oligosaccharides and they produce other molecules called short-chain fatty acids. And those short-chain fatty acids like lactate, butyrate, acetate, things that you've heard of, those act as what are called signaling molecules to basically determine what kind of immune cells you're going to make. So a big one that they do is they make T regulatory cells, which are a kind of immune cells that prevents autoimmune responses. So like children that are not that are not breastfed, they lack like 4 different species of gut bacteria, and they have like a threefold increased risk of allergies and autoimmune related diseases. So it's doing that, and also it's like preventing pathogenic bacteria from like taking residence there, because these human milk oligosaccharides, not only are they feeding the beneficial bacteria, well, recently it's been found that they like break down biofilms that bacteria create to basically escape antimicrobial activity. So there's a lot of antimicrobial things in breast milk, like lauric acid, which is also found in coconut oil. But the human milk oligosaccharides basically break down the biofilm so that the lauric acid can work better. So it's and there's stem cells. There's stem cells in breast milk, mammary stem cells.
Whoa.
Like that blew my mind. I think it's been 10 years since the discovery of that, but it's been so. The studies have been mostly done in mice, but they have measured humans. Have the same mammary type of stem cells in their breast milk. But in animals, in preclinical studies, it's been shown that those breast stem cells, they get digested, they go into the bloodstream, and then they go to various organs. They go to the kidney, the liver, the brain, and they start to in the pancreas, they start to make insulin-producing cells. It's crazy.
Wow.
So
that's amazing that only 10 years ago they didn't know this.
Yeah, I know.
It's all happening so fast when it comes to our knowledge of nutrition and the effect on the body, and especially developing children.
Well, the breast milk thing is really what's interesting, because once I had my son and you immediately, start breastfeeding, I had no idea it was going to be so difficult. I thought it was just, and maybe it's not difficult for everyone, but I think it's difficult for a lot of women. And a lot of women give up after the first 2 weeks. They give up because, it's just for various reasons. It can be extremely frustrated. You're a new parent. You're getting no sleep, and so my son had a little bit of a tongue tie, where the little thing underneath his tongue kind of prevented his tongue from moving as much as it's supposed to. So when he opened his mouth and he'd latch on, there was a little bit of problem. So the first 2 weeks were really hard for me, but that sort of resolved. But I really had to try. Dan and I I was pumping some milk, and we were putting it in a syringe with a little tube and putting it on the breast, because I didn't want to introduce the bottle so early. So, and that was hard. I was getting no sleep. I could totally see, if you didn't know all the benefits of breastfeeding, that I could see how new mothers would give up, because it's extremely difficult. So, that's something, that I completely understand. I understand now. Like, I think previously I was like, how can anyone not breastfeed? You know, it's so,
Right.
but it really, it's not easy for everyone. There's all sorts of problems that women have. But there are actually breast milk banks that, like, so women can donate their breast milk, and people, you know, can buy the breast milk instead of getting formula. Now, of course, there's all sorts of other problems. It's like, well, are they getting enough vitamin D and omega-3, and what else are they taking? You know, so
Yeah, there's so many different things that happen once you have children.